Welcome back to another video. Before we jump on into today's content, if this is your first time visiting the channel, welcome. Hope you like what you see while you're here. If at any point that you do, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you know anytime we upload a new video. Also be sure to hit that thumbs up button. It really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. So with that said, let's jump into it. So hope you like the intro. It just seemed to fit the vibe of the comic. You know, we had to do something fun because this is what this comic is all about. We're here to talk about Darkwing Duck #1 from Dynamite. This is written by Amanda Dibert, art by Carlo Lauro, letters by Jeff Eckelberry. I will just, before we jump into it, I'll just say that as soon as I saw that this was announced, along with the Gargoyles comic that's going on concurrently, I was super excited. I was a big fan of Darkwing Duck, DuckTales, of course, Gargoyles, all your Saturday morning cartoons. It was just, that was something I lived for. So my 8-year-old self was screaming when this got announced. And then seeing the interview that was live on the Experience, probably at the timing of this video, this past Monday, actually, with Amanda, I got even more excited because she was just as big a fan of the show and is as big a fan of the show. And I could definitely tell you that that helped with the writing. Like I said, if you're a fan of the series, this will bring back memories because it literally feels like an episode of Darkwing Duck just in comic form. I also think this is great because it really is truly an all-ages story. For all of us who love the show, this is a great take-back. And this is also something that if you have kids, you can bring them into the Darkwing universe with you and then go, hey, there's a cartoon for this. We can watch it too. So you can do the cartoon and read this series. I'm not entirely sure how many issues there's going to be. But that said, you can read both and have a good time. So it can definitely be a family thing. And I think that's really, really cool. So with that said, you get all the classic Darkwing characters. You get Drake Mallard, aka DW. You get Launchpad. You get his daughter Goslin. And you get classic villains. Which in this one they came out right with Megavol, one of the most notable villains throughout all of the Darkwing Duck series. And yeah, it's just all fun. It basically starts out with him trying to do his little, you know, I am the terror that flaps in the night thing, and he's sitting on top of a building on a statue, and then you just hear Launchpad go, DW, everyone's waiting. Sorry, my voice is a little messed up. That's my best Launchpad impression. But basically what they're doing is they're downtown to be at an unveiling of a statue for DW. And he comes down, of course, it is classic Darkwing. They nailed the cockiness, yet the fact that he does care, but you know how cocky DW was. And he's down there doing the press thing, and he goes, be sure to get my good side, and they're all my good side. And then somebody comes up, they're like, does anybody want to tell the story? You know, by the time that Darkwing saved them, and somebody comes up, and it's, I truly forget the guy's name right off the top of my head, but he basically goes on this 2-hour story for anything, and it's hilarious. And right as they're about to unveil the statue, you notice that everybody's holding up their cell phones, and they're about, they're wanting to videotape and take pictures. You see this big electric charge come through, and all of a sudden everybody's eyes are kind of rolling like a slot machine, or a slot machine. You see them rolling, and everybody says, "Must get Darkwing." And that's kind of where the villain Megavol comes in and makes his entrance. They're trying to figure out exactly what's going on, and Launchpad, of course, in typical Launchpad fashion, helps them get out of the situation so that they can try to figure out what's going on. In the meantime, Goslin, who, if everybody remembers from the show, is super smart and also super adventurous, so she gets herself into a lot of trouble, gets with her friend, and they basically halfway had already figured out what happened. Her friend tells her, he goes, well, did you notice that everybody that got, we'll say whammied for lack of a better term, had their cell phones in front of them. So whatever it was, he did it through the cell phones. So they figured that out. Darkwing and Launchpad haven't quite figured this out yet, but they're trying to chase down Megavolt, who's in his, car, and they're in the their duck jet, I guess, for lack of a better term, trying to go after him, and he zaps them too. And Darkwing does this really cool epic save, and Launchpad goes, "You know, you could have just told me to pull the thunder shoots." And he was like, "The thunder? What? Now you tell me?" Well, what I did was way cooler looking, anyways. So you've got this going on, and then of course Gosling's idea is they set up to do like they're a punk band singing a Darkwing song to try and attract Megavolt, because then if he's not the only, I guess, power spike going on, then he'll be attracted to it. And of course it works, and not only does Megavolt come, but of course all the people that have been taken over by whatever mind control he's using capture everybody, and they lure DW in. DW still doesn't know it's Goslin yet until he's ziplining in and he goes, "Goslin?" And like I said, to make a long story short, he does save her by grabbing the power lines and basically rips them up, gets them untied, and rips them apart. He gets shocked himself, which stops everything. And then he turns to her. They made a joke earlier because of the fact that it was through the cell phones that everybody got under mind control. She goes, "He's never going to let me have a cell phone." And he's sitting there, and of course he's fried. He looks at her and he goes, "And that's why you can't have a cell phone." And then it ends there. It is literally, like I said, it is a Darkwing Duck episode in comic book form. It was done so flawlessly. Amanda had a very good grasp of how she wanted to tell the story and keep it exactly like the show. And then Carlo's art was absolutely phenomenal. I got lost in the world within the first two panels. It was one of those where the creative team was in sync, and I can't say enough good things about it. It was absolutely one of the best things I've read in a long time. Especially given that it's so lighthearted that it's a good way for you to, if you're having a bad week, or if you just want something to lift you up, or just turn your brain off. You don't have to think about something so serious. That's what these kinds of comics are for. Not only for the nostalgia, but it's a good way to lift your spirits and just have a good time reading something. You'll notice probably how I sound. I've not been feeling that great for the last few weeks, so this was the perfect read for me this week. And I thought it was the perfect thing to sit here and talk to everybody about. Dynamite in general had an absolutely killer week of releases. This book just being the coup de grace. They also had, of course, Gargoyles. They had a 007 series that released. Everything that they did was absolutely some of the best stuff that you can get. And Dynamite has been on a tear. I hope that they do more of the Disney stuff. Like I said, they've got this. They've got Gargoyles. If this is something that you're interested in, by all means, email Dynamite. Let them know, hey, what about DuckTales or Tailspin or Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers? More stuff like this. I guarantee you that they would be up for it if there's enough demand. And I know, like, Amanda Dibert would be probably really interested and really good at doing some of these other cartoons, because, like I said, she seems like she's just as big a fan of the series as, like, I am and any of us are here on the channel. So you get creators that really want to write that kind of stuff, then it can happen. And I hope that it does. And I can't wait to see where they go with Darkwing. If it's going to be, like, every comic's going to be more of its own individual episode, so to speak, or if there will eventually be, like, some kind of underlying story arc that goes through it. I'm very excited to see what they do with that in general. But if you're a cover person, you will not be disappointed. There's about 20 to 30 covers, maybe even close to 40 if you count in store variants and stuff like that. For instance, I'll put it up on screen here. I got cover B, which is a Mirka and Dolfo cover. So there's definitely a cover that will fit your personality, as well as just have a good time reading this with either by yourself or with your kids. I can't recommend it enough. So with that said, that's all I've got for this week. I know it's a little bit of a short review, but it was just that good of a comic and just that easy of a story to tell. There's not much I need to dive into other than to tell you that it is fantastic in all forms. So with that said, I'm gonna get out of your hair. You guys please have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you guys next time. Later, everyone.